What is going on, YouTube? This is Jim back with another video here, taking a look at the PlayStation 5 beta list of changes. I did a video some time ago saying that if you wanted to sign up for the PlayStation beta, you could, and for those of us who did, the list is now live. The updates are starting to roll out, and we're going to go through, I don't want to say each and every one of them because there's quite a bit, but let's dive into that. And while I'm getting ready to roll over and scroll down, I'd love for you guys to subscribe. So we got a new software beta version, as I mentioned. Probably the biggest thing people are going to take away from this is the inclusion of the M.2 SSD. I have been a big proponent of the M.2 for a very long time. That's what's in my personal gaming computer. I love it. I highly recommend it. And while PlayStation early on did announce that they would in fact be including support for it at a later date, for now it's just a dormant slot that does not work in the console. Well, they're finally turning it on. It seems like there may be some caveats. We'll have to wait until some smarter people do some speed tests just to determine how powerful this is, if it's actually being utilized to its maximum potential, but it is now enabled. And that's the top bullet on the list here, which I did get. I'll post a link to the entire list from this article in the description below, because I'm not going to read over every single one of these things. But if you want to read them in full detail, click that link, check it out. So it says you can now insert an M.2 SSD in your PlayStation 5 just like an M.2 storage, and just like your PlayStation 5's console storage, you can install PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 games and play them directly from here. Now the caveat is that right now it's got to be a 250 gigabyte minimum capacity with a 4 terabyte maximum. I can't think of a very cost productive or inducive, whatever, 4 terabyte SSD that's an M.2 that's going to run you a lot of money. I think most of them are in the 1 to 2 gig range, but it's cool that they were forward thinking enough to allow you to scale up to that. And as time goes on and the prices do go down, I feel that that'll be a much better option. 250 gigabyte minimum, that seems pretty standard. I don't even know if you can get M.2 that's below 250 gigabytes, so that's fine. And then it kind of talks a little bit about how to use it, turn off your console, how to install it. There's a link on the actual installation instructions. You do have to remove the case from your PlayStation. You have to remove a Phillips screwdriver. They slide right in. It's a little zero insertion force kind of deal. Pops right in, good to go. It says you can move games, obviously, from there and play games directly from there. I would say that's probably the biggest single change here. The second biggest single change here is the inclusion of 3D audio through your TV speakers. So up until now, 3D audio has only been supported via the USB or powered directly from the DualSense 3.5 millimeter jack. If you're curious about 3D audio and PlayStation, you have no idea what's going on, I have a very extensive playlist talking all about 3D audio with amplifiers and DACs and different types of setups, optical HDMI splitters. If you want to read about any of that, there's a playlist below. It will answer any question you have about that. But now you are going to be able to utilize what appears to be your HDMI as an output via your TV speakers, because that's how your PlayStation would plug into your TV. So you now will be able to enjoy 3D audio through a multitude of sound systems as well by default. So I'd be curious to see how this actually performs in things like sound bars and 5.1 and 7.1 dedicated sound systems. Right now, 3D audio works best, in my opinion, via headphones. So I'll be really curious to see how this plays out. But the option is going to exist, which it's really, really good. It also says that they've included a built-in scanner of sorts on your DualSense wireless controller, because it does have a microphone port, that will help you actually calibrate your 3D audio setting. Now, right now, 3D audio only has 5 settings. And it has to do with the shape of your ear. And there's like basically a low to a high setting. And you adjust it based on the contour of your ear to what sounds the best to you. I honestly can't believe that a microphone on a DualSense controller will be able to replicate that level of gauging based on your ears. Makes me wonder if in the future we will see more 3D audio settings. That would be really, really interesting, because that would allow even finer calibration, which is where I think this ultimately needs to end up. I think the Tempest 3D engine is a really good start. I think the interface to use it, the way that PlayStation has implemented it right now, definitely is lacking. We'll have to wait and see. There's a lot of other things that have changed as well. On your home game screen, they've updated the following. Now, if you have a separate game of installed for like a PlayStation 4 variant versus PlayStation 5 variant. They'll appear separately. This has been a major headache for many of us. I know I was playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I thought I installed the PlayStation 5 version, but it was really the PlayStation 4 version. It looked like garbage. It didn't play well. I had to uninstall it. It's a whole thing. They should have done this from the beginning. And if you remember, when you plugged in, or if you had the physical disc of a game and you inserted it into your console, it would automatically install all the contents of that disc. So every time I plugged in my Assassin's Creed Valhalla disc, which was a PlayStation 5 branded disc, by the way, it would automatically, or no, it was PlayStation 4 disc. It would start installing both versions every single time, to the point that I just said screw it, and I left the old version on there while I was playing. So I believe this is the final cleanup of that. We're going to have separate icons for it. It's not going to auto-install anymore. So if you are utilizing any of the older cross-play titles, you know, cross-generational titles, you should be able to specifically pick the one you want, only install that version, and be very clear on the version you have installed, which is really good. There's a lot of housekeeping things here. They've changed the installed tab, your collection tab. Kind of makes everything just a little bit easier to see and a little bit easier to kind of manage, which is good. I didn't see too many things here that were radical. Overall, I'm not dissatisfied with the PlayStation 5 UI. I really like the PlayStation 4 one significantly better. Obviously, they're not going back to that. They've induced the cards. That's something that they're very adamant about having. I don't think themes are coming back because they want you to see that advertisement home screen every time you log in. So I think there's a lot of things that we really enjoyed that are gone, but I feel like they're bringing back the things that mattered the most, which is good. There's a lot of trophy tracking things here. You can now track individual trophies and kind of keep them off on like a pinned aside menu. Xbox has been doing this for a very long time. It's glad to see Sony's actually catching up for those trophy hunters out there. Instead of having to pause the game, go into your settings, go to your trophies, scroll down, you know what I mean? This is just an easy way to quickly manage that. And the truth is, you know, with that pinned aside functionality and with that card overlay that they have, they should be using it to better things. You know, they should have been using it for this long ago to implement, you know, trophy systems and friend lists and party chat and everything. It should just be easier to get to. There were way too many menus on the PlayStation. You had a crossbar across the top, then you had another separate bar on the bottom, depending if you pressed and held the PlayStation button versus just tapped it. It was convoluted. This seems to be a better solution for that, and I'm happy for that. There is a new kind of social setting here now where you can start to change the way you do your party system, the way parties are formed and created and invited, and kind of like chat rooms essentially, if they remain or if they're removed as time goes on. This is very clearly a merging with Discord. This is kind of getting them ready for that. There's no doubt about that a lot of these features are kind of front-end features that will slowly integrate Discord and how that will be included into the system as well. There's some streaming stuff in here as well, changing the way your microphone functions, changing the way how you can take video clips and show them to your friends. So again, really trying to use that idea of like a wall, you know, like a Facebook wall or a Discord chat in this case, of kind of a central hub where you can quickly attach screenshots and photos and messages and invites and that sort of thing all in one central feature. And that's what a lot of this update does, at least with the friends section, and that's what a lot of these sections that I'm scrolling through here do as well. Back to 3D audio, which again to me is some of the most fascinating stuff. When you're adjusting your 3D audio profile for headphones, you can now move the sample to the left or right, allowing you for more optimized experience. As I mentioned before, 3D audio was only 5 settings, and they were more on the vertical scale. It sounded like rushing water was below you, near you, above you, or way above your head. Now it sounds like you can calibrate it to left or right. It also says here that they've improved the game quality audio of some games. It doesn't say which games. I have long said that 3D audio sounds very muffled in situations when it shouldn't. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War specifically. 3D audio does not sound good. Straight up. It's muffled, it's bad, it's not crystal clear. Be curious to see. I'm going to go back and test this. I'm curious to see if these are the some games or if they're talking about their PlayStation first-party games like Ratchet & Clank, which sounded phenomenal, or Spider-Man Miles Morales, things like that. If you have a Pulse 3D headset, you can now access the EQ sound from the control center with different presets to choose from. So they have now started to include more equalizer settings, which I think is a really good idea. I have long said the Pulse 3D headset was definitely not being utilized properly. It sounds to me like they've kind of rethought about that, and they're bringing it back. So I'm going to bring mine out of mothballs. I'm going to dust it off, plug it in, and see if this actually does make a big difference. And yeah, I think that's about it for the key stuff. I'm really excited to see kind of where this update takes us in the future. And like I said, there's a lot of stuff. Now, the two things I will mention as I close out this video, sorry I went a little long. Number one, we do not have 1440p support. Number two, we still do not have variable refresh rate support. These are major oversights. I don't know why we did not get them included in this update, but we did not. So if you're looking to buy a nice new TV and you're ready to upgrade to the new 2021 sets that have variable refresh rate on them or 1440p, this is not the time to do that. So hold off on those. But if you're looking in the market for an M.2, get ready to purchase one. If you are on the fence about 3D audio, I think this may be a good jumping in point. And obviously the fact that they just announced that 10 million consoles have been sold in the world means somebody's buying them somewhere. So hopefully get your hands on one soon if you quite don't have one yet. That's it for this video. I hope you guys found it informative. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.